DEMAY. ONNA is the CEO and consultant, 360 Lifestyle Network, Habitat Concierge, and DEMAY's Mondo. We know her and she's been around. So we're going to have this conversation right about now. Connecting body and soul, impact on well-being. Good morning, OBAAPANYIN.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. By God's grace.
Awesome.
So connecting body and soul, impact on well-being.
Yeah.
First of all, a statement like that body, soul, well-being. Can you help this triumvirate? Can you break it down for us?
Yeah.
Body, soul.
Yeah. So, man is made up. When I say man, I mean human beings are made up of spirit, soul, and body. Now, the spirit, it's standard. Every human being has a spirit, and which is the innermost being of the human being. Then so if you do let's say we did the circle, we would have the spirit being the middle dot, the spirit being the middle dot. Then the second layer is the soul. Then the third layer is the body, because that's the external thing that we all see and we all focus on. But connecting the spirit, the soul, and the body, we're not talking about spirit today, we're talking about the soul and the body, is very crucial, because it is out of the inner person, the unseen part of man, that the body responds to. Now, when you turn it the other way, so we live life from the inside out. That's what I always tell people.
We're supposed to.
We are supposed to live life from the inside out. When you live it from the outside in, it spells sometimes discouragement, failure. It spells, apathy, confusion, depression. It spells all the segregations and hatred and bitterness, and because you are only basing your decisions, your attitude, your mindset on just what your physical eyes can see. And sometimes your physical eyes can see something, but that's not what it is, or that wouldn't be the outcome of it.
Okay.
Now, if you turn it now, the soul is the realm where the inner person, it is a seat of decision making. It is a seat of action, because your soul is the core person. That is why, even for the Christians listening, your soul is saved and not your spirit or your body, because that's where the heart of man is. That is where all your decisions come from. Like, you have gates to your soul. Your understanding comes from your soul. Your suppositions come from your soul. Your will, your heart, your mind. And your mind, you have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is what we're doing now. I am speaking based on my thoughts, based on what I know. Your subconscious mind is an accumulation of all the events that you have experienced, sometimes even from the womb till now.
They've all been recorded.
It's the part of the mind that records these things. And usually the subconscious mind is stronger than the conscious mind, because the subconscious mind has a record of all these things. And sometimes, have you been in a situation where you just say something to someone, and boom, they overreact, and you're thinking, what did I say? What happened here? There is a record inside that person that has just connected to what you've said. And that's the reaction you're getting. So it's not so much the circumstances, the physical things you're saying. Now, why am I so keen on connecting the three components of humanity? And today we're only looking at the soul and the body connection. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter. And of course, your soul is also your intellect as well. The intellect is part of your soul. So your heart, your will, your mind, your intellect, that makes up your soul. Now, why do we want to connect the body and the soul? Because when the soul is not right, it affects the body.
Oh, okay.
Now, let's take an example. So you are depressed and you are binging. What's the logical outcome of it? Ill health.
Yeah.
Or you feel like, I want to go and gym, or I want to walk for the next 1 month. But inside your soul, your emotions are broken. Your mindset does not understand why you have to. Your understanding is not there as to why you need to do that work. Guess what? You wake up today, I want to go and do it. Then, tomorrow, next day, and then you see the doctor.
So the soul is controlling the body.
The soul controls the body. But you see, because we don't know that, we are so convinced. What happens is that when the body controls the soul, you are in trouble. Because then your soul is broken and sick. So you feel like eating 10 grams of fat. That's your appetite. That's your body right there. You eat it. Your soul, of course, it would affect your soul. Because eventually you will get sick. Okay, so I want to sleep with 2 women today or 2 men today, and you just go ahead because it's your body leading you. But if your soul leads you and your soul is curated, now it is important the state of your soul, because that is what will affect your actions, affect your understanding, affect your outlook of life, your suppositions, affect your decision. The soul, your mind is a decision hub of your whole existence. So the wrong decisions we take, the mistakes we make is coming from the state of the soul. It's coming from the state of your soul. It is based on what you understand, based on your outlook of life, based on your assessment, which is coming from inside, will make you take a decision who to marry, who not to marry, which schools to go to, which schools not to go to, which subjects you want to take, which careers you want to have, how many children you want to have, whether you like tall, you like short, you like that. All these daily decisions we took, whether you want to eat 10 grams of fat or you curate your soul. If when your soul is curated, you will have self-control to decide what's good for you, what's not good for you. When your soul is not curated, you will decide the wrong things, which will affect your body. So it is interconnected. However, the soul, we must grow and curate our souls in a way that it is strong enough to lead our body. Because if your soul is not curated and you leave your body on its own to do things, that's all that we are in trouble, and that's all that we see. And you know, for intellectuals listening, you'd say, well, you know, I have my certificate, I have that. Have you walked into a hospital where you have a doctor, certified, but the attitude, whether they're able to get you to talk, get to know exactly what's happening to you. The expertise beyond the certificate comes from the soul. I have interviewed doctors who have to look in a book before answering every question. And I've interviewed doctors who sit, cross their legs, and it's like bam, 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 bam. Because you see, they have a conviction beyond the certificate and they know what they are saying. So if it's certification, why do we have corruption? Why do we have rape? Why do we have murder? Why do we have segregation? These things are committed by the most intellectual of people. You know why? Because your intellect, when it is not, it's not cleaned up in your heart, your emotions, your suppositions, your outlook of life is messed up. It doesn't matter. You can go get PhD, ML, whatever. You can go get emeritus, do whatever. But the content of your delivery and the impact of your certification or your schooling, I say schooling because there's a difference between schooling and education.
Yeah.
So your schooling will be non-effective and retrogressive to those that you supervise, those that you manage, those that you have rule over, your family, your friends, all these things. So the soul is the bane where if society would recognize and work on, we're talking about a better society, less corruption, less less segregation. Well, guess what? When the human soul is worked on, we will have it.
How will I know the current state of my soul?
Your actions, your thinking. For instance, I mean, even in psychotherapy, we talked about the dark night of the soul. I mean, how is it that someone says something wrong to you and your first instinct is to slap the person? That should tell you the state of your soul. That should tell you your attitude, your mindset is one of violence. Sometimes we look at the physical representation of people's actions and words, but we forget that person is a human being beyond the body.
Okay.
And so whatever that person is bringing out is the state of their soul. Because soul is intangible, but it's also tangible. It's intangible in the sense that you can't see it with your physical eyes, but when it affects your actions and your emotions and your thought patterns and your decisions and your will, you will see the remnants, or you would see the outcomes of the state of your soul. So you see people and sometimes, oh, she has such a beautiful soul. Why are you saying that? Because the person is exuding a certain attitude, a certain characteristic, a certain mindset, a certain behavior, certain words. And all this is coming from your soul because that's the seat of your decision. Your heart is the seat of your decision.
Is society getting it wrong if we are punishing the body for the actions of an individual and not tackling the soul?
Totally wrong. That's why even in the schooling system, I do summer school and all that, and I tackle the soul. I tackle the mindset, the heart, the emotions, the outlook of the child, because once you tackle that, you're good to go. You've raised giants. You raise people that are, environment conscious of other people's feelings, conscious of doing the right thing, conscious of growing. And the soul is it's not limited.
Okay.
And so when you touch on the soul, there's no limit to what a human being can achieve. And so for me, even from zero, and I've done that as a mother and I've seen it work. And sometimes people ask me, why is your child so, and I'm like, because I tackle the inner person. So that when your child is disabled, whether your husband, your wife is disabled, sick, see, if you're looking at the person physically, you give up on them. But if you've learned to fall in love with the soul of the person, it will be irrelevant to your decisions.
Okay. Wow.
So then we're talking even marriage. That it will be irrelevant to you because you have loved the person from the soul realm. So even in building relationships, you must build it from the soul realm. Get to know the person within. If you get to know the person's pocket, you will marry the pocket and find you have a monster. I'm not saying the pocket is not important. Let me make that clear. Nobody should go and say, DEMAY says money doesn't matter. Money is important. However, it's not the person. Now, do I say position is important? But the position does not make you, because I can go to school, get a certificate, be certified, and become a minister, become a general overseer, become a manager, a director, like I'm the CEO of 360 Lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. That is based on...
Or even become the president.
The president. I didn't want to go there.
Yeah, I have gone there.
Okay. But the person within is what will determine what kind of president you become and you are. The person within determines the kind of minister you become, the kind of MP you become, the kind of foot soldier you become, the kind of mother you become, the kind of father you become. So being a biological conduit to bring human beings into the world does not make you a father. I say to people, fatherhood and motherhood, I'm not just talking about the men, is a spirit. It is a stance. It's a mindset. It's an attitude. It's a mindset and an attitude. You don't just become a mother because you pushed a child. That process must ignite something within you that should identify you as a mother, should identify you as a father. That should identify you. When you say that you have a friend, it goes beyond we went to school, we are neighbors. Oh, Chale Jojo. That's superficial. What should bond you as friends? Now, I'm going everywhere with this because we all have friends, we all have family, we all have positions, we all have dreams and visions. Now, even your dreams and your visions are driven by your soul. Because guess what? You can imagine everything in the world, even your imaginations, because it's also part of the gates of your soul. Because what you imagine, you become. As a man thinks, so he is. Now, that should tell you that it's not as a man prays. You are not what you pray, because you can pray one thing and be imagining and thinking and feeling something else.
It's true.
And it's that one. And God himself says that's what he looks at, the heart. So we will be looking at the exterior. So I'm sitting here looking all together poised. But what is flowing from inside me is what the real DEMAY, OBAAPANYIN DEMAY, is me. Is what's flowing from out of me, not the external. But if you have worked on your soul, it will affect your body, because guess what? Your soul affects your wrinkles. It affects your aging, because when you are depressed, you are moody, you are unkind, you self-hate or people hate. Guess what? Your cells will respond to it. Your body cells, your organs will respond. There's something Caroline May said. He says, every thought, it gets lodged somewhere in your body.
That's scary.
That's scary, but that's the truth. Every thought gets lodged somewhere in your body, whether it's thoughts of good, thoughts of evil, thoughts of positivity, negativity, thoughts of upliftment, debasing, whatever you think. So you've woken up this morning, you've dressed up, you've gone to work, sitting on your desk. Everybody is coming in. Oh, hi, good morning. Yes, good morning. Now, have you walked into a reception and it's as if the receptionist is fighting you? You're wondering what's going on. Yeah. Or the receptionist is trained, probably, but does not understand their position, because the person inside is speaking louder than the certificate, louder than the training, louder than everything else. So at every point in time, every human being is engaging their souls, whether you willingly or unwillingly, whether you know it or not, you're engaging.
If I could use the word, deterioration of our souls, have things become worse now than they were some decades or times past?
I think that, no, human beings have always been. I mean, if I should go into the Bible, God says that I have regretted that I made man. For the heart of man is constantly evil. The mind of man is constant. So it hasn't gotten any worse. However, the awareness before of the fact that human beings are not just body was more.
Now we're going more external.
Now it's like, oh, what people see, what you wear, what you say, that's all that matters. The car you ride, and it's and social media, because we have access to photography, access to videography, it's accentuated that more.
But it isn't contributed to the deterioration.
Yes, it has. It has, because then I feel sorry for the youth, the young people now, because they don't have the hindsight that we have.
Oh, pre-social media.
Yes. So this is all they know. And so sometimes when people are like, I'm like, leave them alone. We have caused it. I'm saying this revolution. I've said this for the last 20 years. And when people talk about children and youth, I'm like, why are you leaving that gap? Who raised the child? Who raised the young person? What were the schools doing? What was the home doing? What was the church doing? Something has gone wrong, and we must take responsibility. Now, if I see my daughter's friend, and I just relate to them based on whether the fact that if they're an architect or they're they're a lawyer or whatever, and the cars they ride. Then another friend comes in who is probably not a lawyer, but that person is polite, decent, and I don't treat them well, or I give different glasses to. My child is watching me. I am giving information out by my decisions that this is what is important, that one is not important. They watch you, how you relate to your siblings. The ones that have it, you treat differently. They watch your friends. These are things that start from the cradle. And so accumulatively, by the time the child is grown, they have made decisions based on what they have seen. And so what we see today in our society didn't just start now. It takes at least 50 years for a full cycle to take place. And so what we are seeing today started a long time ago. Sometimes people talk about certain vices. I'm like, we saw it when we were children, just as social media wasn't there. So it was not as touted as it can be today. Because we're conscious of the soul, somehow we kept ourselves in check a bit, because it's like you'll be beaten, you'll be scolded, you'll be, so those things. And I remember when we were, some things we say, like I remember my grandmother would say to me, now that is speaking to my soul as a child. And that has been a guiding principle for me. So I find it difficult to circumvent or subvert another person. Because every time I remember that, so we were more conscious of the soul realm. And I remember as children in Esikado, sometimes they would hoot and point at a rich man who probably has been sleeping with young women or has done something.
Society was playing a role in shaping souls then.
In shaping souls better than today. Better than today is each for himself and let everyone do what they like. But I'm saying that there was a consciousness of the soul and spirit realm more than it is today. Now, is a consciousness, the thing is that it's there. Our souls, we can't do anything about. It's there. We have emotions, we have intellect, we have wills. You can, every child has a will. From zero, they have a will, they have a heart, they have emotions, they feel, they think, they understand things the way that they want to understand things. They have perceptions, they have opinions. That's why you tickle a baby and the baby looks at you and it giggles.
Yeah.
That's our feelings. Those are emotions. We've seen videos of how, a child is screaming and then the father comes and holds the child and the child is quiet.
Yeah.
Where's the connection? What is connecting them? What is it that will make a baby, a month old, some of them 2 weeks, sometimes? I watched a video just recently of a baby that had just been born and was screaming and screaming. The father comes and picks and says, Daddy's here, Daddy's here. And the child kind of lifts the eye, looks at the father and is quiet. What is it? What is it that's connecting them? So we have connections beyond the physical. If we don't pay attention to that, the body, you realize that mortality rates, everything is going down, in this country. And the reason why it's so is because people are living from the outside in. I feel like having 10 bottles of beer, I just have it. Oh, Charlie, boys, let's go. No care about what the effect it's going to have on the human being, which is more than the body. Okay, so this is how it should be, and that's what we do. Everybody go, 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 go. Nobody is stopping to say, who are these people? Who is a person? Who is a human being? A human being is more than the body. And that is why we would even not take care of the disabled properly. The disabled in this country don't have more than 5 cedis a day feeding fee from the governments. Why? Why? Because, you see, we are basing our perception of them on the physical. But if the government would understand that these are human beings, are precious, they're different. It's not about their physical being, then they would create walkways for the disabled. They would make sure that the same amount they're giving to the abled will be given to the disabled. They would, so it affects governance, systems of operation that we put in place, affects rules of engagement, affects processes and protocols of institutions, of government apparatus. It permeates everywhere. Whether it's right or wrong, depending on how much we recognize the soul. Because if we see human beings as souls, not just the body, it switches your perspective immediately. When I started researching, reading, understanding, both from the spiritual and it's changed my perspective. I'm speaking to you with all the passion. I'm not interested in the physical. I know I'm speaking to a person who has emotions, who has intellect, who has capacity to grasp everything and can process the information and has the ability to also do. Because if we don't believe that, then there's hopelessness. Then it means we give up. Now, what happens to society, to the environment, to humanity when we give up? Then our mental homes will be what? Full, because depression will set in, oppression sets in. People oppress others when they look at the other person from a physical perspective.
Okay.
Because you think, oh, this person is not the same. Like, Europeans came and oppressed us, took over, and are still doing whatever they're doing because they think that only the color matters. Narrow-mindedness. Because psychologically, no neurologist will agree to that. No psychologist will agree to that. Now I'm going to, people will say, oh, are you talking about, as a Christian? No. Dr. Amen, who is a top psychiatrist, he has the biggest imagery and imaging of the brains in the world. He's taking more imaging of brains than any other psychiatrist or any hospital has. And he shows you the various shapes, sizes, and states of the brain within certain spheres. For instance, he takes brains of murderers, of footballers, of athletes, of children that are so, what we would say, are one. But there is something happening within the brain. But when he gives his 12 point of mental health, he talks about kindness, awareness, being present with yourself, talks about family, talks about friendships, talks about being conscious of your environment as the 12, he makes a 12 point, and he's not the only one. I have researched, I have listened through my own experience, through other people's expertise. For the first time in the human race, science is beginning to merge with the universal principles.
OBAAPANYIN DEMAY. Let me find out.
Yeah.
Would you say that the governance of this country would have...
You want to take me there?
Yeah, because of something
Okay.
you said. If you were to advise a president, you would say, in all your cabinet meetings, have someone sit by you who, in all your policies, thinks of the soul of the Ghanaian.
Absolutely.
I got that.
Absolutely. Because sometimes I drive up the streets. Now, let me tell you a scene that put tears in my eyes. I was coming from East Legon and the traffic light stopped. And if I just up your road, the main road here, I was trying to enter the American House Road, and the traffic light stops, and this little girl, the ones that beg.
Beg on it, yeah.
You could see she had done so much work in the day for a 7. She can't be more than 8. She must be between 6 and 8. and she's sitting on a bucket or something, and she's like this. And when the traffic light stopped, she could see she was forcing herself to get up and come start begging. Yeah. But she couldn't, and she would go, she was slumbering. And I watched this little girl, and I said, she's living the life of an adult. This is a 6 to 8 year old. Don't these ministers go through these same traffic lights? Do they not feel anything when they see little children? My child would never in a million years be there. But does that mean that I should ignore? Because if you have an overview that every human being is a soul, it's not about whether, oh, it's not my child. No, it's not your child. But it's a soul. It's a Ghanaian soul. It's an African soul. It's a black soul. Is it right? No. So you see that from a government, even from governance and system development perspective, if you consider that every human being is a soul, you will put in policies and systems that now, okay, in Europe, right, the Scandinavian countries, we say GDP, right? They have GDP, H, and I think they've added another H is for happiness index.
Okay.
Now, that's but it's funny, some of these states are atheists, but why happiness? Because there is a state of a human being that needs to be considered in terms of policies, economic policies. Why is it that they tell you that in Europe that at least, an hour's salary should be able to buy someone a beer outside of all the obligations of utility, whatever they're doing? Why? Because relaxation is also part of human quality of life. And it's biblical. I'll bring God in because we are a religious nation. And so sometimes people do the ostrich thing. They bury their heads in the sand. Oh, this one is not Christianity. Oh, this one is Christianity. No. I'm not anywhere. I'm not speaking about Christianity. I'm not speaking about Islam. I'm not speaking about atheism. I'm not speaking about anything. I'm speaking as a human being, that human beings have a certain thing inside them, and that thing must be worked on. The emotions, what will make someone pick a knife and stab another human being because they were displeased at a particular time. And guess what? These soul realms we are talking about is also what brings about chemical, like feel-good chemicals that the psychologists and psychiatrists talk about, and the not too good chemicals. And at every decision and every state that your mind is in, your brain releases certain chemicals within your body. Your organs release or not release or hold on to chemicals that affect your organs, affect your brain. That's why insomnia can be worked on. What the psychiatrist will do is to replicate the natural chemical that makes the body go to sleep in a tablet and give it to you so your body can sleep. Now, if you can do it without the tablet, naturally, by just a smile, by just being kind, because those things release those chemicals, whether you like it or not. That's the human body. Now, if they tell you that stress can cause your your heart to begin to pump at an alarming rate and cause your blood to start acting up and become hyperactive, causing hypertension, why would you not take into cognizance how a person feels? Why would you want to put a human being in that state where they're always hyper, where they're stressed? The bill is not, the math is not mathing, as they say now. I hear my children say that the math is not mathing. Why would you put a human being in that state where they have to stress? So the organs are stressed, We all know what happens with diabetes, the place of the state of mind when it comes to diabetes, when it comes to hypertension, even cancer now, we know, is not just, a clinical condition, but it also has to do with lifestyle. And all these lifestyles we're talking about have to do with human decisions, human outlook, human suppositions, human will.
Final words.
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is it to curate the soul? Myself or the clergy or whoever is overseeing my, in quote, spiritual life?
Every human being is spiritual.
Okay.
So again, it's religion that makes you think somebody must oversee you. Every human being is, as far as I'm concerned, people may disagree, but I'm saying it from my perspective as a spiritual person, that every human being has a spirit of God in them. And so really, religion makes spirituality systematic and puts rules of engagement, but every human being has a connection to God.
So it's my responsibility.
It's your responsibility. However, when we come together, if you say that you are at the helm of affairs of people coming together to work on their souls, then you also need to contribute. You are only contributing, you are not responsible. And if we take the responsibility off the hands of pastors, of school teachers, and you see, take the responsibility of your children's well-being, your well-being, out of the hands of other people, and teach your children to be responsible for themselves, to act according to that, grow the inner man so much that the child would begin to take responsibility and say that, no, this is not right. No, this is not good for me. No, I need to do that. That's when you have more children proteges. That's when you have more child stars. That's when you have more children that would do amazing things when you started right from the beginning.
Thank you very much. It's been amazing. That's OBAAPANYIN DEMAY, CEO and consultant 360 Lifestyle Network, Habitat Concierge, and DEMAY's Mondo. Thank you so much for coming through on Personal Development Mondays, connecting body and soul, impact on well-being. That's what we've been doing today. We're sure we'll be having you back one of these days. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great one. So all too soon. Time is up.